Thanks, Scott. Everybody, if you wouldn't mind one more time giving me a little chat in the question box, letting me know that you can hear me okay, and you can see my screen. I've got a weekly demo QA session PowerPoint up right now. Excellent. Well, you know, so this is Wednesday, August 17th. This is the QA webinar. This is really an interactive webinar. I'm going to present for about the first half hour. The first 15 minutes, I'm going to go over TI Standard, what we've been doing for the last 14 years with respect to innovation with alerts and top lists, alert and scanning. Then I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes and I'm going to talk a little about our artificial intelligence. I took an hour's worth of snapshots today during the market when I sat down, and just to give me an opportunity to talk you through some of the signals, some of the indicators that we have inside of our artificial intelligence, which is part of the premium product. So let's just get started. We're going to get some of this housekeeping out of the way. We are not a registered investment advisor. We're a software technology company. So any of the symbols that I talk about today shouldn't be construed as investment advice. This is really educational information purposes only. I want to get started just by letting you guys know, Trade Ideas, we've been doing this for about 14 years. It's an incredibly comprehensive tool. It does a tremendous amount of scanning and alerting, and as such, I want to let you know that you're never alone with Trade Ideas. We want to make sure that everybody has a clear understanding of how to use this tool. First of all, when you sign up with the subscription to Trade Ideas, you get a 1-hour one-on-one training with one of our educators, experienced traders, experienced users of Trade Ideas. So after that hour, you're going to know exactly how to use this tool. It's going to be set up on your desktop. They use a remote desktop sharing software technology to make sure that the way that software is set up on your desktop is the way that it's going to make you most comfortable. Also, they go through how to configure the tool. We allow our users to really kind of hit the ground running without having to know how to set it up, how to configure it. But once you advance to that level of configuration, you can really make any of the windows that we've created your own, and you can customize them to your own liking. In addition to that, we have a variety of different webinars throughout the week. We have webinars on Monday, we have 2 on Wednesday, and we have 1 on Thursday where, you know, these are all interactive as well, where we do screen shares and we take questions from the attendees in the audience and make sure that everybody, you know, has an understanding of what we do and how this software can best help them. But first and foremost, what we do is we have a free trading room. Free. I mean, if you didn't get that, it's free. You should check it out. You go to our website, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link to our trading room, and this is an active screen share by an experienced professional. Barry, he's in the room here today. He's answering questions during the first half hour. So if you have any questions, certainly feel free to type them off. But if you wait till the last half hour, I'll get to those myself. But Barry's moderating this very experienced trading room. I think we have about a little over 500 people that are attending this room on a daily basis, and you know, it's a variety of different experience levels. There are traders that are just getting started, that are looking for advice on where to turn for education, and then there are experienced traders. Some traders trade particular sectors, others trade particular price points, but everybody is assisting in a complete collaborative effort. Just a great experience, I assure you. If you go there and take the opportunity to take a look, you're going to incorporate that into your daily routine. And you know, there's a complete collaborative effort from perspective of the technology, the sharing of the strategies and the windows and the triggered events. So it's really a very, very informative, educational, and profitable time. So at the beginning, Scott did do a poll, and he asked you if you were if you had a premium subscription or a standard subscription. I want to make sure that for the 30%, the people that are just joining us here today that don't have a subscription, I'm going to take a little bit of time to give you a high-level overview of the tool, the differences between the standard and the premium, but then I'm going to spend most of the time on really our artificial intelligence and kind of how that worked out today and what you could have done in the marketplace. Just first and foremost, the standard subscription really is the flagship product. It has access to the alerts, the top list tools, the multi-strategy windows, the visualization tool that we call the compare count, charts, as well as the channel bar, which is like your remote control to the market. The premium subscription has all of that, and Scott will talk a little bit about the economics of these two different subscriptions a little bit later, but In addition to everything you have in the standard, the premium includes our backtesting tool, which is a lot different than normal backtesting. It's event-based backtesting, which looks at an entire strategy over a period of time and lets you know how you would have performed if you would have bought or sold or performed a set of instructions every time an alert was generated out of a particular strategy. So it gives you a nice equity curve and a very clear understanding of how you would have performed had you executed each and every signal that occurred. We also have access to the price alerts, formerly called the limit alerts. This allows you visually on a chart to simply right-click, put in a note, and let it know. Well, it lets the system know that any time that price crosses that threshold, you're going to be alerted to that information. You're going to receive a pop-up, an alert notification, so you're going to know when a particular price point is crossed. It also includes our AI stream, which we call Holly. This is 45 different strategies that are optimized every single day by our artificial intelligence engine. These 45 different strategies look at a variety of different exploits in the market. Some are long, some are short, but nevertheless, at the end of every day, Holly goes through each and every one of those strategies and determines whether a filter would be better suited for that strategy to result in a more optimal type of execution. And so it does that on every one of the strategies, and each of one of those 45 strategies competes in a combine, and it has to meet certain profit factors and certain win percentages for it to become a valid strategy the next day. This has been performing incredibly well in the marketplace, and we've been keeping track since January 1st, and it's clearly far outperforming the spiders, which was the benchmark that we chose to measure against. And then it also includes TIQ windows. TIQ is really, we're at the forefront of this new development language that we're incorporating into our software tool set that allows us to really create any type of alerting condition, even if it doesn't exist inside of TI Pro. While there are hundreds of different alerts and filters that you can configure inside of TI Pro to make a strategy, there's still a finite set of alerts and filters from which to work with. But TIQ removes that limitation and does allow us to really get very creative with some of the different strategies that we'll be putting out. So that's the high-level difference. Let's talk a little bit about the artificial intelligence. That's where I was talking about those 45 different strategies that are revised and optimized each night. This was what we were presented with today, the different strategies. Cuts like a knife, float on, alpha predator, on support, power hour short, pushing through resistance, quarterback, horseshoe down. There may have been one more at the top of the screenshot here. But this right here it took place at 7:57, yeah. So if I look at the time, I sat down, and this is about an hour's worth of screenshots as I go through it, and we'll just take a look at some of the information that's being conveyed here. So first of all, this is our default Holly AI channel. It consists of 3 different charts, a short time frame, a daily time frame, as well as a look at the spiders on a 15-minute chart. So a multi-day spider chart to give us a flavor of how the market's performing and been performing over the last couple days. This is our AI strategy window. This tells us which strategies are in play. It gives us a risk on, profit, and I'll talk a little bit about the risk on and risk off a little bit later in the presentation. Let's move on over to the right, and also I'll talk about the graph and how that's all relayed into all the information that we're looking at. But right here, we're looking at our compare account window. Oops, move the slide. Our compare account window, this is that visual indication that lets you know, are the bulls winning or are the bears winning right now? And this right here is showing me that 62% of the activity are new lows, opposed to 38% of the activity new highs. So this is giving me a nice breadth indicator. What's really happening at this point in time? Not whether the market's up or whether the market's down, but where's the push? And then we have our single stock window. This allows us to really focus on a particular security using the different data points that are special to trade ideas. So trade ideas, we collect data from the exchanges from a variety of different data sources, and we combine it at our data center. And at the time of ingesting that data, we also create new data points. So we have standard data, like what's the high for the day, what's the last for the day, but then we also have very special data that's unique to trade ideas. In this particular screenshot, we can see the stock to its relative activity. This is something where we're looking at social activity on CYCC, and this is telling me that it's doing 2,344% of social activity on StockTwit. So it's something that's being talked about right now. And what caught my eye here on this particular screenshot was that CYCC, even though it was a stock that we had gotten out of in the risk-off mode where we have closed out the position, this stock started to light up. And it lit up because I was looking at this profit change over the last 5 minutes. And this is the default sort for this particular window right here, because this is a sort order that lets me know when a stock is really starting to light up. And the great thing about the Holly calls and the Holly signals during the day is it makes an incredible watch list for you to be able to build price alerts off of. And I'll show you, as I was doing this, as symbols were coming through and I was looking at it on the chart, I was setting price alerts and being alerted to those thresholds that were being crossed. So also notice a few other things here. Notice the spiders here, and we noticed that the market kind of opened down and it started basing at this level right here. Something to notice. We noticed that bearish activity on the compare account window. So let's go to the next slide. So this is just a few minutes later right here. And let's take a look at HMY, which is, this was an early signal here, a short, cuts like the knife. So Holly's producing both long and short signals throughout the day based on the specific filters that are in each one of the strategies. And oftentimes there are filters that are tied to the broader market, tied to what's happening on the spiders, what's happening on the diamonds or the Qs. So please keep that in mind. So on HMY in the single stock, notice a few other data points here. We can see that the relative volume for HMY, and this is a special data point to Trade Ideas, where we look at the volume right here and now at this point in time and compare it to normal at this point in time. So at, what was it, 7:58 in the morning, I'm on the West Coast, so it's Pacific time, we had a StockTwit's relative activity of 232% and relative volume of 1.87. That means it was 87% more than normal from a volume perspective at that time of day. So something was happening, something's lighting up, and we capitalized on the short momentum move here. But notice what's happening with this stock. It's starting to perhaps kind of curl over, and this is a place where you would want to go ahead and right-click on that chart and set a price alert if you weren't in that position at the time or you wanted to add to your position if it was going to break down further. And that's where you use these signals here and incorporate that with the price alerts that you can set visually right on the chart. So here in this particular screenshot, we've got a few new AI signals. So this took place about 10 minutes after the last screenshot, and a few more signals took place on a variety of different strategies. DY, the big change over the last 5 minutes. This is one that really, you have to identify with that information. CYCC is climbing with the big change over the last 5 minutes, and you can see that. TEDU, big change over the last 5 minutes. Now the risk-on profit graph. Notice how, from the risk-on profit graph, this is the risk-on, first of all, is taking a look at the entire portfolio of positions and hypothesizing that you hadn't gotten out of anything at this point. So if the risk-on is typically greater than the risk-off, this is letting you know that these positions have some follow-through to them. Now, everything should be looked at on an individual basis, right? You shouldn't just kind of look at this overall profit graph and go, okay, everything's moving back. Let's load up on everything. That's not how the market works, but you have to notice some of the different data points that we're presenting to you. Profit change over the last 5 minutes, the risk on profit, the risk on profit in dollars. So we're giving you the percentage as well as the dollars right here. Notice the SPY chart. So the SPY was kind of basing before, but it looks like it might want to be popping out. And that's an indication here is we've got all these open positions that were just put on. These are all long positions. Right here, the compare count still giving me a little bit of diverging information. This is still telling me that this is a bearish kind of setup and scenario, but everything does possibly have to turn too. Well, it doesn't have to, but it possibly can turn. So let's take a look what continues to happen. So this is 8:09 right now, and this is 4 minutes later. Okay, so we're focused here on CYCC, but even though the market hasn't done a whole lot right here, it looks like it's trying to peak up, but this stock is clearly running, and we were identified to this particular signal right here where this blue annotative arrow is. We're also annotated the price. This was the signal price at 784. The stock did pull back. We did end up getting stopped out of it, but this is where you set the price alert. And the price alert is a right click. This is a real standard kind of operating procedure with using the AI. This stock made a high, it pulled back. You right click at the high or at the resistance level that you may find, and you set your price alert so that when it breaches that threshold, you're going to be alerted to it. You can confer with what the market's doing, if the stock's even following the market. A lot of times it's not even looking at the market for parity, and that's the beauty. I mean, this is a system that's looking at every stock, at every tick, and it doesn't really matter what's going on. It's always finding opportunities in the marketplace. So let's see, also in this particular, we've got the DY, right? DY, that was up 50 cents before. It's now up 62%, or 62 cents. And these are some of the things that you have to take notice of, right? And then we're giving you that information, what's changed over the last 5 minutes. And these stocks right here are the stocks that really started to move, or are starting to move. OSIS. All right, and this is just a couple minutes after that. You know, and this is focused really right here on OSIS, and this was a stock here that you can see. It's actually, this is a nice trading opportunity, breaking out of the opening range in this particular stock and doing so on a little bit of momentum. But it captured a nice trade here. The profit is 72 cents. The distance from the stop is pretty far away, and you can see exactly where the stop is visually on here. Just because, I mean, let's be real. The stop here is 66.48. The AI is a stream, right? This is not a red light, green light, get in, get out type of system. The market is very dynamic, and we're using statistics and information to give you guys better opportunities and odds in the market. But by no means can you predict everything that's going on. Now, in this particular case right here, OSIS, it's breaking through, right? It's breaking through on some significant volume. So let's take a look at what's happening next here. This is just a couple minutes later, and CYCC is continuing to go. And notice the risk on profit. The market hasn't really broken out yet, but you've had the opportunity just from watching the last few minutes where using some of the indicators here, you have the ability to capitalize on some of these moves after the stock has been closed out. And that's a risk-off type of closeout. It's a risk-on type of trade. Now, just because some stocks become risk-on type trades doesn't mean every stock is like that. You know, Target, this stock right here, had the stop hit, and it never really did recover. It just didn't like that particular trade. And oftentimes it's like that. You have to find the stocks that really do light up, cut the losers short, and let the winners run. So CYCC is still going, and the spiders are starting to peek out a little bit. And this is just not a couple. Let's go back to the last one. The time was 8:16. I can see here this is 8:24. This is when I had some price alerts trigger. So I had set some price alerts up. I had set a price alert up on HMY, and I had also, as I do every day, I set price alerts up on the spiders. So I'm just alerted to what's happening. I'm not always watching the spider chart, but I want to know if it crosses certain thresholds. It certainly makes shorting easier when the spies are down significantly. It makes buying, you know, a lot easier when the spies are up or when they're moving in that direction. So the price alert's part of the premium functionality that allows you to make sure that you're always going to be aware of a particular move that may be happening. So notice this spies are breaking down right here. We have a lot of potential long positions that we were in. CYC, you know, that was a position that, CYCE, you know, that was a position that we were in. This is starting to break down. This was at $1. You have to be smart when you're trading. You have to protect your assets. You have to make sure that as that stock is going up, you're partitioning some of that position off. And by doing that, it gives you the staying power if, in fact, it's going to pull back a little. But regardless, you have to be smart, and you have to know that when a stock pulls back a certain degree, if you're profitable, you need to be taking some of that off the table. So we're gonna kind of experience a little bit of a pullback. Let me go to the previous here. You see we were up $2.11. We had some good winners here. The spiders were here. And now if we come through, we can see what's happening to our profitability. Now, I want you guys to be a much smarter trader, and eventually Holly will learn. She is getting smarter. She's learned a tremendous amount in the 8 months that she's been generating these ideas and signals. But nevertheless, this is your money and this is your capital, and when you see pullbacks of this type of magnitude, you better have taken some money off the table. That's the prudent thing to do. These types of moves are huge percentage moves, and they need to be treated as such. You got to lock in these profits. I mean, notice that topping tail right here. These are some of the indications that if you're watching, wouldn't have been hard to really, save another 12, 20 cents on this particular down move right here. Got to take the profits definitely on the way up. And that's one of the things that Barry really does do a fantastic job of communicating to the room. Now, first of all, he's making trades all day long in our trading room, and he's calling these trades out. But it's really important that you got to take profits on the way up, and it just does give you the staying power for the continued move if that move is going to happen. And if you have had the foresight to take profits on the way up, flattening that trade, that last part of the trade at the end, if that's what you have to do because it just didn't pan out, the net of it's still a winner. It's still a winning trade, and so it's important. It's not just a psychological thing. It's just an important money management technique, but psychologically it's invaluable to your trading for sure. All right, so we're getting to about the end. This is at 8:30 right now. The SPY is really starting to kind of break through that support. Nothing incredibly significant from a percentage move or anything, but just the pressure that the market's feeling. So you needed to have taken those profits as when you had them, and that's one of the real values that this type of display is giving you, all of this information that we're feeding you, and then simply the visuals that are provided from the charting perspective. Okay, so I did already talk a little bit about the compare count, but what I like doing throughout the day is I like either clearing the compare count by right-clicking on it and selecting clear, or by duplicating it. So I can still see the bar here on the left, cumulative from when I started this particular window, but now I can see what's going on right now. And is the pressure really bearish or is it bullish? So that's something that I do quite a bit. And then I'll delete it and I'll refresh and just keep a couple of these going just to give me an idea. So then let's kind of toggle away from the AI channel. This is going to one of our other channels. This is the Surge channel, one of my favorite channels that really does identify really interesting moves, both cheap and expensive stocks, but something that's moving inordinately and typically on volume. This was just something that I believe this was called out in the trading room early too, and it's kind of about, I think it was below, what was this? I think Barry put on a position here. It might have been around 90 cents, may have been just below, kind of anticipating what's going to happen at the dollar. And it took a while, but it finally did pop. And I assure you, he took profits on the way up, and he may have flatted the last. Well, he probably didn't flat it because it never got down. But that's just what's happening in the trading room. And these are the types of signals that are being called out. These are the types of signals that you can find by going to the different channels on the channel bar. So another great one right here, which was TEDU, and this is a perfect example of using your price alerts to your advantage and not being intimidated by a stock that may be up a pretty significant percentage. What is this up right now at 12.92? This thing is up 9.6%. So pretty good percentage. Getting long here or somewhere at the $13 level can seem a little risky, and certainly it can. But if you manage your stops appropriately and you get familiar with supply and demand, support and resistance, setting a price alert at a level like this can be really beneficial. I think I have a follow-up to TEDU in here. So I think I moved to this one first, which was MBII, and this is interesting because oftentimes you're going to find a symbol that appears on multiple windows. And that's by design, really, because this happens to be a stock that's not only showing a tremendous amount of upward momentum, right? This is a window that's being sorted on the number of new new highs that have occurred. This is being sorted on the number of new lows that have occurred. And this right here is really focusing on volume. So bringing them all together, this is a real interesting type of opportunity identified at this particular $1.60 level as having a very, big volume surge taking place. Another thing, a price alert popped up for ears, and this is going up all day long for me. The price alert is a real, it's a nice blanket. I mean, it really is like your trading assistant right there, because you're feeding it information, whether it's during the trading day, after hours, and it's waiting. It doesn't care if this thing happens tomorrow or the next day or next week or next month. When that happens, you're going to be alerted to it, and then you can make that decision of whether you want to do anything with that particular stock. So TEDU, this right here, this finally got triggered. So I had set a price alert, right here. I set the price alert. You can see it's red. And now right here it's green, letting me know that it's been triggered. And so this is a good, interesting opportunity. Get in before the whole number, or watch what it does at the whole number. We'll get back to that, I'm sure. ATEN, this was another signal that generated a little bit later. So we're at 9 o'clock right now. So this is, yeah, just a little, I think we have about another 10 minutes to go here before I stop. And TMUS, this was a signal. Now, this wasn't a great trade. It wasn't a great signal, but this is why you need to have a little bit of intelligence and a little bit of your own critical thinking when a signal occurs. TMUS, it triggered here at 46.86. That's that blue annotation right here. This is a 1-minute chart. This thing moved up a tremendous amount here in a very, very short period of time. And just because something signaled here doesn't mean that you have to blindly jump in. And I said that when this thing triggered, I go, oh my God, I can't believe that thing triggered. I got to take a screenshot just to document it for the pullback. And I thought it might take a little bit longer to happen, but it pretty much just came all the way back. And I don't know how far it came back in, but it was pretty ridiculous. So you have to use your own critical thinking with this as well. So this is the TEDU right here. This was the break. It happened pretty quickly. And then just, a few minutes later, just continue to rock and roll. So that's what we're looking for, and that's what we're hunting for each and every day with respect to AI. But, it's not an automatic thing. It's not something that just comes to you, right? These are the signals that occurred. Now it's up to you to figure out what to do with those signals and how to best, profit from those. So let me do this before I take some questions. Let me see what time it is, first of all. Well, actually, let's do this. Let me go ahead and bring Scott in here, and then I'm going to go ahead and give you a preview to our new web version of the software. It's something that we've been spending a lot of time, and we're continuing to even after this next web release. But I'll talk you through a little bit of the functionality that we're going to be adding to that program.
All
so
right.
Scott, are you on?
Yeah, sounds good. So I guess you're putting that slide on. Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for joining us, and something we like to do to thank everybody is provide a promotional code for some savings. You can also find this if you go to the handouts panel on your GoToWebinar interface. There's a PDF there for you to download, and that contains this slide as well as our contact information on another slide. So we have two tiers. Brad already outlined that at the beginning of the presentation, the standard and the premium. The standard's price is $888 per year, and the premium is $1888 per year. Both of them also have monthly options as well. Now that promotional code questions, it has to be all caps, just like you see it on the screen. Takes 15% off your first month or first year of premium, or 10% off your first month or year of standard. It's a great way to get started with trade ideas, and of course this includes a full hour of one-on-one training. So as soon as you sign up for either the standard or the premium, go ahead and go to the support section of our website and click on training, and that'll take you to a page where there is a calendar interface for you to choose your preferred day and time of the open slots available for that training. It's a really great way to get started. It's a great way to get to learn the ins and outs of just navigating the layouts and setting up your own layouts and learning what's going to be the best fit for your trading style. You'll find that that is a great way to get started. We also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/trade ideas is where you want to go for that. We have playlists to get started. Also, replays of all of our webinars like this one that's being recorded now. Again, so just go to tradeideas.com/price and use that promo code on your checkout. If you do want to upgrade from standard to premium, if you're on the monthly, just go ahead and purchase the year or the premium monthly, and that's a great way to upgrade. It'll overwrite your existing subscription. If you are on the standard $888 a year, just email us at info@trade-ideas.com. We have a way for you to do that. Customer service will help you out. And if you're on the premium monthly, just go ahead and either contact customer service or just go ahead and purchase the year. Use that code for savings, and that'll overwrite your monthly subscription. Thanks, everyone, for joining us again. I'm going to turn you back over to Brad. Go ahead and ask your questions in the questions panel, and he'll try to get to as many of them as he can.
Yeah, let me do that. Let me kind of clear off a few things here. So, Steve, you made an interesting comment regarding the annotations on the chart. And one of the things, we really kind of stopped development on the chart after we did our initial release to move on to the next project. And one of those projects was the charting for the web version, which is what I'm about to display and show to you guys. After we complete the charting for the web and Holly for the web, we're going to be moving back into charting inside of the application and enhancing that aspect of the tool. So just to let you know, that's kind of our development roadmap from the charting perspective. Wayne's asking about the new version of our application. Wayne, it's really, really close. There's just one bug that I want to clear up. It's a bug that erroneously triggers price alerts after hours, and I just want to get that one done. I think we'll have this thing ready to go tomorrow. Very latest, it'll be Friday. But yeah, that's pretty clean except for that one last bug that we're trying to tackle. And Frank, I don't know what's going on, buddy, but I haven't listened to Benzinga. You do need to check out our live trading room. That's where they're calling and live trades, as they happen in real time. This is a webinar where I'm talking about our tech. So, all right. So feel free to fire some more questions in there. I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit of the web version right now. So you can get to the web version just by going to our homepage, right? Going to Trade Ideas, and on the homepage up here, you're going to see Launch TI Web. So right here, this let's go ahead and close this down and take a look at the menu bar of what we have access to here. So we've got a channel window where you can select any of the channels, and they will be displayed inside of that container. So this is a channel container that has all of the predefined windows of a particular channel all incorporated in. So also the alert, just like in the application. Everything here is really free floating, so I'll open up an alert, a top list. The cloud links allow you to share between the application and the web version of the tool. Bring in a multi-strategy window, so this right here is just an alert window with a variety of different strategies all embedded in it, different alert and filter combinations for each one of the strategies. The compare count window, that visualization, and remember, everything is configurable, right? So if you go in, you can configure it and tell it exactly what you want it to look at. What do you want the green data to convey? Maybe it's 52-week highs. What do you want the red data to convey? 52-week lows. Whatever it is that you want to convey, you can go ahead and set it up in that fashion right there. Let me clear a few of these. And then let's open up the single stock. This is relatively new to the web version. I think this is about, I think it's in the full release, but this right here is just like in the application where you can configure it. You can tell it exactly which fields you want to display and have access to. And then the very latest component here of the web version are the charting. And the charting, this is still the initial foray of the charting where we mimicked what we have inside of the application, but studies are coming very, very shortly to this web version. They'll be in the web version before they make it back into the application. So we're excited about that. And then if I go ahead and close these guys here, and everything is really configured the same way too, right? So if you know how to configure a window, done with the filters tab, the exchanges tab, everything is really the same. Let's open up a channel window. So this right here is the regular pre-market channel that we see right now. We maximize it, and it's nice because you can size your window up and everything kind of stays proportional to it. But if I go to the bottom and select this pre-market channel, you can see this channel has a couple charts in it. So it's just going to be a little bit more fully functional. So Frank, yeah, for the Mac, this is the version that you'll want to use, but you can also use VMware or Parallels to use the application inside of the Mac environment. But right now we don't have, so there's a few deficiencies in the web version. We don't have the Holly AI signals in here yet. That's something that we are working on. That'll be coming into this version. And the price alerts. Both of those are not in yet. But you do, with respect to the odds maker, you still have access to that. So for instance, if I take a look at this pre-market high strategy, actually I need to pop it out first, figure out how to use this. So now that I popped it out, I can sit here and I can modify it. I can go into it and I can, well, that's not going to work that way. Let's do it this way. I'm just going to open up a basic alert window, a market watcher right here. And so this, you can backtest any alert window. You can't do inside of the web version, you're not able to do a strategy inside of a multi-strategy window like you can inside of the application, but you just collaborate the window into an alert window, and here you can go ahead and simulate the buy, and this is going to take a look at that strategy and give you an indication if you were to buy every instance of an alert that was generated in that window, how would you have done? So this is really some of the core base technology that Holly uses. Well, she interprets this data in a way that allows her to really ingest all of the data and manage it. So Richard is saying that Parallels is the best, and I agree. I'm a fan of the application. I have Parallels. I have a MacBook Air. It's the one thing about Parallels in a Mac, you do have to have a powerful enough computer. My Air, the fan kicks on a lot with Parallels, and that's kind of irritating. But I have the big Windows desktop for my trading and work, and for the Mac, I just use Parallels. Yeah. So Ken, you're asking if there'll be any differences between the web and the Windows version. So yeah, I mean, they're at the end of the day, no, right? At the end of the day, our goal is to really have two comparable products, and it doesn't really matter the medium that you're running it on. But it takes a little bit of time to get to that point, and I'm sure there will be points in time where one of the tools has something that the other does not. But we use one version for incorporating ideas, doing skunk testing, and creating new types of technology, and once that's done, then we move it over to the other version. Rarely do we develop in two different platforms at the same time. So Susan's asking about CodeShare's crossover, and I had very limited experience with it. I tried it, and I was super hopeful that it would work. I thought it would be a great solution, but I got stumped at a problem. Yeah, CodeWeaver's crossover. I got stumped at a problem where, the spot where it needed to install .NET 4.0, and it was able to install the earlier version of .NET, but I just couldn't get it to get to that point, and that is really the core that our technology is written on. At least from the application, it needs the .NET component to function. So if you can get that in, but I do know, it's interesting, I was in the trading room a couple days ago, and I do believe if you pop in there and ask this question in there, there'll be someone that'll be kind enough to assist you, because I think there is someone in the trading room that is using it, and they could probably give you the instructions on how to do so. And yes, if you have access to the downloadable version, you have access to the web version, and vice versa. Now we do have some integrations. We do have integrations with eSignal. We have integrations with Scottrade, with eTrade. Typically, those types of subscriptions, if you have that access to that particular or one of those environments, you typically only have access to that environment. But if you do subscribe directly to Trade Ideas, you have access to all the different environments. So guys, my presentation is done, so I'm here for you, and if you guys have any questions on configuring, on Trade Ideas, on anything, anything, this is your time. All right, then. I am going to cut it a little bit short. It's hot out here in California today. It's a little toasty. So Leon's got a question. So Leon, nice to see new Holly strategies making the cut, and thanks for the constant upgrades. Could you explain what cuts like a knife is? Sure. Let me, I don't know off the top of my head, but let me do a little quick digging right here, and I'll see if I can tell you cuts like a knife. Thought I would have it quicker accessibility, but hold on. All right, well, let me do this. I can't find the optimized one because I lost my link here, but let me find the base, and I'll take a look at what the base is looking for. So we're looking for a crossing below resistance here, crossing below support, rather, as the base trigger. Some of the base filters in here. And then what Holly does every single day, she looks at this base, takes a look at the data over the last 3 quarters, including today, and then decides which couple filters or modifications she should make to this strategy to make it a profitable and successful one. After she does that, that's when they all come together into the combine, as we call it, and determine who's going to actually appear the next day. All right, so I hope that helped you, Leon. And one of the reasons why, I mean, these strategies are changing so frequently, as you see, you know, we're adding new strategies to it. When we get to the point where we've developed a solid enough base and things aren't changing so frequently, we'll get to a point where it's a little bit more documented, so you'll have access to some of the details that exist in each one of the strategies. All right, guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday. We have another webinar at 4:30 Pacific time, 7:30 Eastern time. My buddy Steve is going to be putting that presentation on, so that's our Trade of the Week webinar. Thank you very much for joining us today. Hope you had a good time. Hope you learned something, and we'll see you in the trading room tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. Thanks, everyone, for attending. See you later.